Any of y'all heard of us?
Yes.
Couple? Great. So, real quick story of how we started. About 4 years ago, I read about a play by Anne Washburn called Mr. Burns, the Post-Electric Play. I see one of you knows it. Anybody else? Very quickly, it's 3 acts. Act 1 is a bunch of people sitting around a campfire amusing themselves recreating a Simpsons episode. And then you realize that society has collapsed and there's no electricity and they basically live in the woods. Everybody does. Act 2 is 5 years later, and and these same people have become a roving theater company performing Simpsons episodes. And there are other companies that do other shows and so on, they sort of mention. And then Act 3 is 75 years after that, so about 3 generations later. There's still no electricity, everything is still, people in the woods, but the Simpsons have become mythology. And Act 3 is this weird musical thing where the people are wearing these bizarre, distorted versions of Simpsons, tall blue hat for Marge and all, and they sing this strange version of the Simpsons theme song and all. And so I heard about this, and I thought, man, that sounds amazing. I would love to see that show. But then I thought, there is nobody in Memphis who's going to put this play on. It's too weird, and there's just not enough. There's no company that's going to do it. And I called my friend Tony Isbell, who's been a local theater guy for 40 years. He got the Lifetime Achievement Ostrander last year, and we had put on a show just the year before. We had done a show that we thought was going to be a one-off. Just do this show one time, and I said, Tony, let's go have a cup of coffee. And so we went to Buddy's and got a cup of coffee, and I told him about this play, and then I said, man, there is so much theater like this. There are all these cool plays that are being written that nobody's going to do in Memphis. Let's do it. And he was like, all right, sounds cool. So we started a theater company. There was all this wonderful stuff out there that was simply not available here, and that seemed like a real shame. So of course we had the most difficult conversation when you're starting an enterprise is what to call it. And we came up with, that's Tony. And we came up with Quark Theater, Q-U-A-R-K, like the subatomic particle that is the smallest sort of building block of everything, because we do very small, stripped down shows. Our usual set is a table and a couple of chairs, and that's it. That's almost it. Yeah, very simple stuff. Our first show was called Blackbird. It had played on Broadway not long. In fact, it was nominated for a Tony in 2014, and we did it in 2015. And it's, again, table, 2 chairs, 2 people. It's a woman who is in her late 20s and a guy in his, I think, mid-50s. And when she was 12 and he was 40, he abused her. And he went to jail for it, left town, changed his name, and she has tracked him down. So he's at work one day, and she comes in, and for 90 minutes, they haven't seen each other since the trial. For 90 minutes, they talk it out. It is an incredible show. And so it keeps it real simple and real engaging. That's the only show I've seen where I don't think anybody in the audience moved the entire time. It was silent. So yeah, now we have been doing this for 4 years. And we've done shows like Blackbird. We did The Nether, which is kind of a science fiction virtual reality thing. And we just did a show called Wakey Wakey in September. Did any of you happen to see that? One of you? Great, a couple of you did. I know y'all did. Yeah, we've so far, I think, got a pretty good track record. I think we're doing good shows. We have run into some problems, though, that are just kind of endemic to the kind of thing that we're doing. First of all, people who go to see theater in Memphis, they like musicals. They like big, splashy shows. For some reason, musicals all go 3.5 hours, too, which drives me crazy. Our shows are like 80 minutes and get out. We haven't had an intermission yet. The other big problem that we have just recently is some of y'all may know that Chris Davis, who was the theater critic for the Memphis Flyer, just retired. Yeah. And since then, there's no theater critic in town. There's no journalist covering theater. When we started doing this, even 4 years ago, our first shows got write-ups in the Flyer and the Commercial Appeal and the Memphis Daily News, and there's nobody doing that now, and it's tough. We have definitely seen attendance drop off now just because we're not getting mentioned in these media sources that that people look at every day. It's frustrating, but what are you going to do? Well, this is what you're going to do. You're going to come talk to groups of people, right? We've got some bright sides too, of course. On the one hand, I think all of us involved feel like we're making some really great theater. And while there are challenges to doing live theater, such as that it can't be recorded, it's all about that experience. That's also the reason that that live theater and live music are really the only kind of art that can't be downloaded. There is something about your deep primal lizard brain that lights up when you're in the room with the performers in a way that will never happen watching TV. Well, I don't want to say never, because they might get there. Right now, it's not there. Right now, you cannot recreate the experience of being in a room with people acting out a story. That is some caveman stuff, and it never gets old. 3? Okay. Also, there are lots of great companies doing great theater in town. Y'all know Fem Memphis? They do some great stuff. Hattie Lou, Cloud9, New Moon. They're all doing wonderful little shows and not big splashy musicals. Again, nothing against big splashy musicals, but that is covered. There is plenty of that in town. Yeah, so in short, we've been doing this for 4 years. We have no intention of stopping anytime soon, despite the challenges that we run into. I think we're really glad that we are bringing something new to Memphis, and in a way we are helping connect Memphis to the bigger outside theater world. You know, we're bringing shows here that haven't been done here. So far we have done, everything we've done has been a regional premiere. We haven't done any shows that have been done here before. I would also point out, as soon as I mentioned that, in the last 10 years there have been 3 productions of Les Mis in Memphis. In case you forgot what it was like, yeah, we've done shows that, we did a show by Alan Barton, who had never had a show done outside of Los Angeles before. As I said, we did Blackbird the year after it was nominated for a couple of Tonys, but it didn't win. It's all right. Yeah, so I think I've got a little bit of time left, but my final note is that hopeful one, as I say, we're having some trouble that's always, that you're always going to have in live theater. But Norman Mailer famously said one time that live theater is the art form that's been dying for 4,000 years. That is my talk. Oh yes, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram at Quark Theater. We spell it the fancy way, R-E on there.